Driving modified cars is always fun, particularly when you can drive them fast. It don't matter if you've got a Supra or a Corolla.
Or a car that's powered by a Corolla engine. It's all about the opportunities that your car opens up for you and all the mad things you can do with it.
Now, recently we were down at Mount Panorama. We battled the Suzuki Jimny with the K-Truck and we're like, this is a mad track.
So good.
We have been invited down here to Mount Panorama in Bathurst. We've brought down our Nugget Exige. I call it a Nugget Exige because it needed a lot of work to get to where it got to now. But Lotus have hired, or I don't know what they've done, I don't know what they did, but they managed to get their hands on the whole of this track at Bathurst.
And that means race conditions. That means this normally has a 60km/h speed limit. It's a public road that anyone can bring their car down and drive on. But driving it at speed in race conditions is a pretty amazing thing.
Welcome to another episode of Mighty Car Mods. We are very excited to be down here at Bathurst. We have actually driven this track in Mod Max and we drove it, as I said before, in the Jimny and the K-Truck, but this time we'll be driving it at speed in our Lotus Exige, which has the upgraded supercharger, has the exhaust, has the tune, making good power. It's going to be freaking awesome. We've got our race speed licenses and we are ready to hit the track.
And now, why does Mount Panorama special? Well, if you don't know anything about Australian motorsport, it is like the most iconic Australian place for racing. We have big events here every year. It is cut into the side of a mountain. It's quite a long track. It's a fast track. It's got a straight that's called Conrod Straight for like doing.
And what do people say, Martin, when you go, I'm driving Bathurst? Say, oh, like a tourist driving a tourist bus. No, I'm driving at speed. They always make what noise?
They go, ooh, oh, like make this weird sound. Like, what's that sound mean?
It means it's scary and deserves your respect. So we will respect it when we drive it. Let's get some dinner, prep ourselves. Then tomorrow we are going to be hitting the track for some Bathurst action.
I believe. Dude, all the mad mods you've done to this, well, Lotus, dude, it's going to be sick.
It's going to be
great.
Be
so good.
And it handles like balls.
Does it?
Now,
handles like balls.
In a good way, as in they're attached.
Oh, good.
You know what I mean?
Before we hit the track, we've got the chance to check out some other cars and also meet some other owners. Surprisingly, not all of them worked in IT, but a lot of them did. During dinner, which was put on in pit lane, we had the chance to share the story of how we started Mighty Car Mods and also a few stories about how I found this particular Lotus and of course how many things were wrong with it when I first got it. And with that done, it's time to get ready to hit the track. Mount Panorama in Bathurst has been a huge part of Australian automotive culture for decades. Today, it's a 6.2km racing circuit, which is a public road when there's no races on. And it's unusual because there is so much change in elevation. Being able to drive the road at speed like I will be today is a rare experience. Usually it's a maximum of 60km/h, and today I plan on doing well over 3 times that speed. There's always some nerves when I'm doing a track day, but it does feel more intense here. Many people over the years have lost their lives driving this road, and it is something that I'm mindful of when I pull out onto the track.
So I'm pulling out onto the track at Bathurst. This is the kind of thing that dreams are made of, really. Seen so much of this on TV, and really it's kind of the closest thing we have to the Nürburgring here in Australia, you know, like a public road that turns into a racetrack. I'm very nervous, but also really excited to get out there and see how this little car does. There are a lot of Lotuses behind me, or Loti. I don't know yet what the plural of Lotus is, but I think Loti sounds good. So the way that this will work is the first lap there's going to be a pace car in front, basically a lead car, and we're going to follow that out so we can look at the track. This track is unique in that a lot of the corners are blind corners, and they also have kind of what I would call like an infinity pool where you can't see the edge. So we're going to climb the mountain, and when it comes down again, you can't really see how high and low the angle of the road is. Or the turns, which is what makes it so scary. So we're going to be following one car around for a lap, and then after that we'll get to the main straight, and then we will all gun it basically. I am quite excited about driving this at faster than 45km/h because recently there was the battle between my Suzuki Jimny and Marty's little four-wheel drive K-truck. Even though the speed limit's 60 when it's being used in its public road mode, our cars could pretty much only do 40 k's an hour, and I think today the speeds are going to be a lot higher than that. Okay, that's a green flag. I'm shitting myself. I'm driving Bathurst, heading up to Mount Panorama. This is the kind of thing that dreams are made of, people. This is amazing. I'm on my slow lap, doing around 100 k's an hour. It's going to be fast. Lotus kicked in, yo. Look at these corners, people. I do feel quite nervous being up here on this track, to be honest, and I guess I could pretend I'm all super macho and feeling super tough and how fast I'm going to go, but it's a track that deserves respect. And the Lotus is a car that deserves your respect when you're driving it as well. It doesn't have 100 different driving aids like Audis and Porsches and things like that. It really is kind of me and the car. Look at this. Where is the road? Oh, goodness. That's scary. Sometimes I can feel quite competitive as well, particularly if I'm chasing someone or someone is chasing me. I need to put that aside today. I just need to focus on getting around the track in one piece. That is a deceptive corner. See a few people have come off there and then ended up in that wall there. Let's go, let's go. Feels amazing. The 1.8 litres is just incredible. Gee, that's tight. There's a V6 in front of me. It's got a little bit more down low. You can see kind of when we get out of the corners, he's just pulling out a bit quicker than me. But I do have this upgraded Harrop supercharger. And when it comes on song, it is incredible. Really hard to pick the lines. I don't think I'm doing a great job of doing any aggressive race lines here, but I'm just getting a hang of the car on this track. I don't know if this comes across on camera, but the road just dips down into nothing, and suddenly it's a really, really aggressive chicane over to the right, over to the left, and then down to the right again. A really big one to the right. What a track. I think it's really worth taking your car out to the track and seeing kind of, you know, getting closer to what its limits are. Really good for your confidence as well, driving, seeing how your car goes in different conditions. Let's chase this guy down. Kilometers an hour, and I could feel every kilometer of it. The car gets a little bit light when it comes up over that hill. Woo. I did pack spare underpants. Century Batteries over there, proud sponsors of Mighty Car Mods. Thank you very much, Century Batteries. Spectacularly bad way, and it has happened over the years. You just can't see where the track's going. It's really deceptive. It really comes down to a feel thing and experience, which I don't have on this track. Gives me a whole new level of appreciation though when I see the track on TV and see what people are doing. In fact, the compromises of Lotus that you have to live with on the street really shine on the track, because this is where all the things that are bad about the car become incredible with the car. Hitting, 200 plus and then coming up over that hill and feeling the car lighten up is one of the scariest experiences I've had in an automobile. It's scary, man. Really scary.
Keen to see how that went. Looked pretty epic from outside the car, that's for sure. Car is not on fire. It is no Evo, it is no Subaru. It is a budget race car. Budget. That looked really fast. Was it really fast?
It was really fast, man. There was a few spots where you're going well over 200 kilometers an hour.
Yeah.
And then it goes up, and then the car just goes light for a second.
Because you're off a jump.
And you basically, look, your wheels are still touching the ground. But the first time I went round, I was going 210 plus and went up, and then only afterwards when I went around a couple more laps, I saw that other people are tapping their brakes just before the crest of the hill to try and get some gravity back into the car again. But I had a kind of a moment of lightness in the air and heaviness in the underpants.
After finding this car as a bit of a mess, and all the time and effort spent fixing it up, today was the ultimate experience of owning this car. This was my favourite time driving the car the whole time I've owned it. And somewhat ironically, this is also my last time driving this car. I managed to get a taste of something that I'd always wondered about, yet somehow my heart still lies in the engine bays of old Minis and Nissan Nuggets. I could keep the car shore and take it out for the occasional track day, but this seems like a selfish waste when we're talking about a car that is so focused, so idolised and so rare. It needs to be in the hands of someone who lives and breathes maximum track performance and that whole experience, and I don't feel like I've got the right to lock it away just so I can drive it a few times a year. Let me explain.
I bought a supercar, now I'm a real YouTuber.
I bought this black Lotus Exige S240 completely sight unseen off the internet. One of 3 examples in the country. I'd never owned a Lotus or driven one, but what I was about to experience was the uncompromising philosophy of making a car as fast and as light as possible, with no apologies. Yes, it had some problems, but with the help of some new friends, we got the car not only back to full working order, but performing even better than when it left the factory. And through this process, I got to meet a whole lot of awesome people, learn a whole lot of new skills, and particularly learn more about my driving, because this is a car that doesn't pull any punches when you make a mistake, something that I would soon learn firsthand. After spinning out at speed, I was scared to drive the car, but I still needed to finish what we'd started and take the car to where we felt it had to go. We soon found out the setup on this car was actually dangerous, and that had to be fixed. With an upgraded Harrop supercharger and a professional setup done the old-fashioned way, I was ready to get back to the track. We didn't make 1,000 horsepower. We didn't need to, that's not what this car's about. We created something with true supercar rivaling performance for a small percentage of the price, while a new group of mates supported my mission of learning more about the car and more about how to drive it. I got some instruction from some of the best in town. I learned to face my fears and get back out on the track.
Yes! Yes, yes, yes! Okay, I'm back!
And now, after conquering Mount Panorama in Bathurst, this is where my story with this car comes to an end. I don't believe that cars should be collected and locked away to try and make money or just left under covers. A car like this needs to be driven, and it should be an evolving story that can be shared by many. We caught this car in a bad state, but now it's better than ever, so it's time to release it back into the wild where it can truly be appreciated for what it is. Lotus have recently announced that it is the end of the line for the Exige, so this truly is the end of an era for one of the most iconic and uncompromising sports cars ever made. A raw, exotic car built for the singular purpose of going as fast as possible. It's the end of my story with this car, but just the beginning for someone else who's willing to take the reins and learn how to tame this incredible car.